This is a stimulus update and daily news report. Got some big updates to share with you. President Biden and the West respond with sanctions to Russia invading Ukraine, but is it enough? I'll give you the latest updates of what's going on there. Also, the latest stimulus check articles like this. Stimulus checks worth up to $1,500 going out to 10,000 workers. And fourth stimulus check 2022 update, new $1,000 monthly payments coming in 2 days as $600 one-time boosts could be sent. I'll play a video clip from Bernie Sanders as well as the Republican perspective on more stimulus. It'll give you some other updates as well. Hope you're having a wonderful Wednesday. If you appreciate the fact-based, fast-paced updates, hit the like button down below, and I'm giving $200 to my subscribers in just a couple of days, and I'll have details to how you can enter down in the description below. First up, let's talk about Bernie Sanders. He had a video clip here talking about how Congress is basically corrupt, getting paid off by billionaires and elites to do what they want to do, as opposed to doing what the American people want to do. Take a look at this video clip right here, Bernie Sanders.
The polls seem to show that more and more Americans are giving up on democracy. They work long hours for low wages. They worry about their kids. They can't afford health care. They see their jobs going to other countries. And meanwhile, the people on top are doing better than any time in American history, and they wonder, hey, we elect these guys to the House, to the Senate, governors. What are they doing for us? Do they understand? Do they live in the real world? Do they understand what is going on in our lives? Or are they too busy going out raising campaign contributions from the rich and the powerful? That the time is long, long, long overdue for the Congress to start addressing the needs of the American people. And I know it is a radical idea to suggest that maybe, just maybe, we should do what the American people want and not what wealthy campaign contributors want. And maybe, I know this is another radical idea. Piece in the paper today about the impact of climate change. Sea level is going to rise by a foot in the next few decades. We're looking at drought, floods, extreme weather disturbance. Here's a really radical idea, Madam President. Maybe at a time when the scientists tell us that it is questionable in terms of the kind of planet we're going to leave our kids and future generations, whether or not it is going to be habitable or livable. I know it's a radical idea. A lot of fossil fuel money coming into this place. But maybe, just maybe, we stand up to the fossil fuel industry and tell them their short-term profits are not more important than the future of this planet. So, Madam President, we have a lot of work to do. I'm not sure that we will do it. I'm not sure that members of Congress have the willingness or the courage to stand up to the powerful special interests who control the economic and political life of this country. But this I will say. If we do not do that, in terms of the economy, in terms of climate, in terms of health care, in terms of education, future generations will look back at this Congress and say, where were you?
To be clear, getting paid off by big companies for special interest is both a Democrat and Republican issue. So you can see there Bernie Sanders not choosing either side. Basically, all Democrats and Republicans, or not all, but a good chunk of them are both getting paid off by big interests, special interests, pharmaceutical, oil companies. Let me know your thoughts on all that down in the comments below. Next, let's get into stimulus. So stimulus checks worth up to $1,500 going out to 10,000 workers. See if you're eligible for cash payments through 2023. So this is going out to 10,000 people in Alabama. So the first round gave grants of 1,278 child care providers in 2021. This is from the what's it called? The Child Care Workforce Stabilization from the Alabama Department of Human Resources. So full-time employees can receive $1,500 while part-time employees can receive $750, and it's going to be paid on a quarterly basis over the course of 2 years. So that is every 3 months. So that's what's going on there. Then this one, fourth stimulus check 2022 update, new monthly payments coming in 2 days as $600 one-time boost could be sent. So what what this is talking about is applications open this week for a guaranteed income program that will send $1,000 payments to eligible recipients for 17 months. So applications open February 25th, and the first payment will be distributed April 15th, according to the West Hollywood Pilot Guaranteed Income Program. So this is in West Hollywood, California, and it is $1,000 per month for 17 months. And they are accepting applications February 25th until March 6th. And this comes as legislation is talking about another or a fresh round of stimulus payments worth up to $600 going on in Oregon. So that isn't official yet, the $600 in Oregon. They're still working on the details there. Then coronavirus stimulus checks from Utah. Salt Lake County gets more funds to offer rent relief. In addition to stimulus and stimulus checks, rental assistance. So they're doing rental assistance in Utah. It is out of a $45 million for rental assistance, and that's still going on in Utah. So that's basically just what this article is about. Salt Lake County still available for rental assistance. Now, with all this stimulus going out or slowly drying up, Republicans are still not too happy about spending more on stimulus and helping out more people when it comes to that. Here is what Republican Senator Rand Paul has to say about the overspending and cause for inflation.
One of the things that's come out of the pandemic is we spent tons of money. We just spent trillions of dollars and we don't have it. So we had to borrow that money. As we borrowed that money, then the Federal Reserve prints more money, and that money floods into the circulation and it devalues what we have. What does that mean? Higher prices. So when you go to the grocery store and you see the rising prices of vegetables, fruits, everything, and especially meat, it's because we spent too much money. We borrowed too much money. When you go to the gas station, you fill up your car, and it costs almost 50% more than it did the year before. That's because of inflation. Inflation comes from the government borrowing money, the Federal Reserve printing it up, and stealing the value of your dollar. So it's a bait and switch. One political party says, here's free stuff. You can have free stuff. I'll give you a $1,400 check, and it's free. Believe me, you don't have to do anything for it. Well, there is a cost. The cost is inflation. That's what we're seeing now. But as we found in the 1970s, when inflation rears its head and gets cooking, inflation can get out of control and it's hard to stop. The only way that Volcker and the Federal Reserve ultimately stopped inflation in the late 70s, early 80s, they let interest rates go to 21%. Imagine what that does to people. If you live in a house right now and you have an adjustable mortgage, how many people could survive 21%? What happens to the national debt? We have a $30 trillion debt and we're paying it at about 2% now. What if it goes to 10%, 15 or 20%? I don't know how we would afford it. Will it squeeze out Social Security? Will it squeeze out Medicare? So we have to resist this notion of something for nothing.
So as always, I like to give you both perspectives, one from the Democrat, one from the Republican. Let me know, what do you think about what Rand Paul said? Do you agree, disagree? Should the Build Back Better or whatever type of version of it, should that go through? Should it be put on pause indefinitely? Let me know your thoughts on all that down in the comments below. When it comes to Russia, so things are getting really serious. West hits back with sanctions for Russia's Ukraine actions. Now, the problem with this is that sanctions may not be enough, and sanctions may cause retaliations, and it may not just be a physical war, it could be a cyber war. Take a look at this video clip giving the latest.
We begin tonight with these major developments involving Russia and Vladimir Putin's moves involving Ukraine. 24 hours after Putin said he was recognizing two Russian-backed regions of Ukraine as independent, tonight President Biden before the American people calling it the beginning of a Russian invasion of Ukraine. The president saying Putin is planning to essentially carve out a big chunk of Ukraine. President Biden now announcing severe sanctions on Russian banks and wealthy Russians, warning it's just the beginning. If Putin takes another step, that there could be more. America's allies tonight united, acting quickly. The EU imposing sanctions of its own. And late today, we learned Secretary of State Antony Blinken has now canceled that meeting planned with the Russian foreign minister that had been set for this Thursday. That wasn't a surprise, but one more sign tonight reflecting the seriousness of this moment. President Biden speaking to the nation late today, calling Russia's actions a flagrant violation of international law, saying, who in the Lord's name does Putin think gives him the right to declare new so-called countries? a unanimous vote for sanctions from all 27 countries of the European Union. Germany delivering one of the sharpest blows, halting certification of that gas pipeline, Nord Stream 2, from Russia to Germany. President Biden saying this unity is something Putin hasn't been counting on. Tonight, Cecilia Vega standing by at the White House, Martha Raddatz in Ukraine. But we're going to begin here with our senior foreign correspondent, Ian Pannell, in Kyiv again tonight.
Tonight, President Biden condemning Vladimir Putin after the Russian leader recognized 2 Russian-backed separatist states in eastern Ukraine and ordered his forces to move in.
He bizarrely asserted that these regions are no longer part of Ukraine and their sovereign territory. To put it simply, Russia just announced that it is carving out a big chunk of Ukraine.
Biden slamming Putin for declaring them independent states.
Who in the Lord's name does Putin think gives him the right to declare new so-called countries on territory that belong to his neighbors?
Biden then imposing significant new sanctions against Russian banks, business elites and their families.
We've cut off Russia's government from Western financing. It can no longer raise money from the West.
The European Union's 27 nations also unanimously imposing sanctions, with Germany freezing the major new Russian natural gas pipeline known as Nord Stream 2. Biden announcing he's also deploying 800 US troops already in Europe, as well as fighter jets and helicopters to NATO members in the Baltic states, Estonia, Latvia and Lithuania. The president insisting these are defensive moves and the troops will not be fighting Russian soldiers. Not far from Ukraine's border with Poland, Matt Gutman is with US paratroopers.
This is part of the contingent from the 82nd Airborne. They've been here for a number of days already. They're part of joint exercises with the Polish military, and we are just a handful of miles away from the Ukrainian border in that direction.
Their mission described as deter and assure. Deter Russia, assure the Allies. But Putin remains defiant, hinting at his possible next move, supporting the claims of Russian-backed separatists to the entire Donbass region of eastern Ukraine. The rebels currently hold around 30% of the Donbass. The rest is held by Ukrainian forces. Any attempt by the rebels with Russian military backing to take the rest of this land will almost certainly lead to a major conflict. Russia evacuating its diplomats from Ukraine, smoke rising from the embassy in Kiev after staff were seen carrying in what appear to be boxes of documents. Despite Kremlin denials that Russian troops have already deployed into the east of Ukraine, images have emerged of what seem to be Russian tanks and armoured personnel carriers there. Putin issuing 3 demands: that Ukraine abandon its goal of joining NATO, to demilitarize, and to negotiate with the separatists. None of this is likely to be acceptable to the Ukrainian government. President Zelensky issuing a strong and defiant message, saying we want peace, but we have a right to self-defense. In a rousing address to the nation, he said, we are on our land and we owe nothing to anyone. It's a view shared by the mayor of Kiev, Vitaly Klitschko, a former world heavyweight boxing champion. He may have hung up his gloves a long time ago, but he knows that the time may soon be here where he has to fight once more.
As former soldier, I promise if my country needs me, I'm ready to fight for my hometown, for my home country.
All right, so let's bring in Ian Pannell live again tonight from the Ukrainian capital. And Ian, you know, the U.S. Secretary of State Blinken, just before we came on the air, saying he's now canceled his meeting with Russian Foreign Minister Lavrov in Europe. It had been scheduled for later this week. And Ian, do we know anything tonight about what might be happening in eastern Ukraine now that Putin has given the green light for Russian troops to move in?
Yeah, it's a good question because attention is focused elsewhere, but there has been a massive increase in shelling in that area. The body that monitors the number of ceasefire violations registered around 300 incidents a day throughout last year. Today, that number was 2,000. And I think most worrying is that the rebels continue to accuse the Ukrainian military of launching offensive operations, not offering any evidence. But this suggests that despite all these developments, the recognition of independence, everything that Putin has said, that they're still building a pretext for a potentially much larger military invasion.
What are your thoughts on what's going on there? It's pretty crazy. So I'll admit, at first, I didn't think anything was going to happen. I thought it was just a lot of hype over nothing, but looks like things are going to get serious, and it could get a lot more serious, affecting a lot of people around the world, especially people in the US. We could feel the effects of this. Hopefully it doesn't get too serious. I'll keep you updated on that. And that is all the news that I have for you today to hopefully brighten your day a bit. Here's my daughter Bella's tip of the day.
Oh, sorry guys, I see them. Can I tell you something? What I want to do is go to the moon. I need to go to the moon. Never mind. What do you want? Tell me in the comments below and see what you want. If you want to do something, then accomplishment. Do what you want, because that after you get too old to not do what you want. Oh, bye. The moon, bye.
Thank you so much for watching. As mentioned before, giving out $200 checks. All you have to do is just be subscribed to this channel and a couple other things mentioned down in the description below. And yeah, everything else is going great with us. I've been playing a little more pickleball than usual. Actually, take a look at this picture right here. I've been playing so much that I actually got a hole in the front of my shoe, and my toe was rubbing on the ground and got a little raw. So I had to get new shoes. I only have one pair of sneakers. But anyways, if you want to check out my latest video, you could click up here from my other channels, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care, be safe. Thank you for watching.